Hey everybody, welcome back to another helicopter sightseeing tour. Today we're in Le Bourget, just outside Paris. We're at the Le Bourget airport, and we're going to be doing a little bit of sightseeing over Paris itself. So let's hop on board and we'll get going. Alright, we're on board our blue and white helicopter today. While I get set up, interesting thing to note is that the Paris itself is the default Microsoft sim. There is no add-ons for it today, so what you see is what we have. Okay, strobe lights are on. Turn that around, look at the batteries and the alternator on. Mixture into the rich position. Collective is fully down. And let's start her up. There we go. So we're currently northeast of the city. We're going to take off and then head down to the southwest and out over the city itself. Just going to turn the sound in the helicopter down slightly, just peaking a little bit. Alright, so we're about ready to go. She's warmed up. We'll get the transponder on out, and we are good to go. It's a little bit heavy. We're full of fuel today. There we go. Light on the skids. We're going to head to the southwest. And off we go. So Paris is a very historic old town. It is been around for well over 1,000 years. In fact, there's some really good references to it in the writings about the Vikings in the 800s and 900s coming up the Seine River and attacking the Paris itself, or what was Paris at the time, which I'll be able to show you actually. So we're heading down across the outskirts. So Paris has a ring road called the Boulevard, I believe it's Périphérique, the perimeter road, which we're going to cross in a minute. And it is within that bound the actual city proper of Paris. It's not bad. You can see there's a little bit of a couple hills there, but other than that, for the most part, it's flat, and it is bisected by the Seine River. Kind of cuts down the middle of it. The other thing we'll notice is that Paris has a lot of train stations. I think there's like 4 or 5 of them within the city itself, and there's a couple more on the outside. So it's a very train-heavy city. Basically, there's one for each direction. Well, there's 2 in the north that go northeast, northwest, then there's a south a southeast, and I think a southwest as well. And once we get into the town, you'll see the very classic look of the Parisian buildings. So I've been to Paris twice, I think. Yeah, twice. And I've been to most of the sites we're going to take a look at today. And the first one is coming up on the horizon. See the streets are laid out on diagonals. There's a lot of areas where diagonal lines come together, and you usually find parks or monuments or significant buildings in those places. So we're coming into two of the train stations here. There's one over there on the left, and there's one we're just about to cross over here on the right. And they're kind of the ones that go to the northeast and northwest out of Paris. Construction cranes by the looks of it. Now this is again just a regular unmodified scenery. So this is all taken off the photographs and satellite images and stuff. There's the railway. Train station's just a little bit further in. The other one's not too far over. They're only a couple blocks apart up here at the north end. So here's our first thing we're coming up to here. This is raised up on the hill here, and this is the Sacré-Cœur, which is the Sacred Heart Church, Cathedral. We're now into Paris proper itself. You can see the way the buildings are and everything. That's a very historic look here in Paris. So we're going to slow down and take a look here. The building really stands out with its white stone. There she is. And of course, we got the front of the building here. As you come up to it, with the statues on the roof there. Pretty cool. Don't know its official status, if it's a cathedral or a church or what it is. Well, there we have it. So we're gonna head down here now. We're gonna head a little bit closer down towards the center of the heart of Paris itself. Paris is broken up into a number of divisions. They call them, what do they call it? Arrondissements. I think there's 18 or 19 of them. Basically, it's a section of the city that you're in. You can see all the streets, the diagonals, sometimes little parks. And lots of churches. This one here we're about to fly over. Big steeple. Like I said, you have all these roads coming together. Like we have one here. This is the Palais Garnier. It is an opera house. You can see it at the intersection of these roads. A little bit of a plaza before it. You can see another little plaza there with a monument. That is the opera center there. A lot of these classic triangular shaped buildings out here due to the street layouts. And these buildings go back to the 1800s, 1600s. They're very old classic buildings. Alright, we're almost down to the heart of Paris now, down by the River Seine. We're going to come down and take a look at this building here at the end of this street. So this is a very famous building. This is the Louvre. Now the Louvre was an old palace, royal palace, but today it is a museum, and you can go in there. I would recommend, if you want to see everything, you take at least 2 days. And there's the famous glass pyramid. But definitely recommend you take at least 2 days. It is huge, and there is a lot to see. If you're into museums, you'll love it, but it is going to take you quite a while to get through it. I did about 3/4 of it in a day, and I was feeling very, very rushed. And it's everything from art to, there's a beautiful section on paintings and the development of paintings through about 800 years and how they changed and evolved. And there's even, here on the right side, some of the old royal chambers are still the way they were, with the furniture and decorations, which is pretty impressive. So we're now going to head down this way, away from the Royal Palace, to a nice set of gardens here. We're on the north. There's the Seine River. We're on the north side of the river right now. And this is a little bit more infamous spot coming up. This is the Place de la Concorde. Very famous square. It has an Egyptian obelisk in it now. This was brought back by Napoleon after his romp through Egypt in the early 1800s. But before that, in the 1700s, this was used as the execution spot. So all those guillotine drawings and stuff where the crowds are gathered for the executions during the Revolution, this is where it happened, right outside the palace. And this long stretch here of road is another famous landmark. It's the Champs-Elysees. I think that stands for Road of Light. But anyway, it's a very, very nice place to walk up. Some more impressive buildings. I was flying the French flag on it. That's the Grand Palace, the Grand Palais. Currently closed. I'm not sure what it has in it. But there's all kinds of little shops and cafes, and if you want to spend a lot of money for a cup of coffee and sit out and people watch, this is the place to do it. Huge, long, straight road. And again, you can see all the churches, the spires picking up, and then the city buildings. This isn't the old town of Paris, though. We'll get there soon. So coming up here is the famous Arc de Triomphe with its 18-lane roundabout. I don't know if it's 18, but it's a lot. And I'm not sure if it's true, but if you rent a car over here, apparently, if you go into the Arc de Triomphe, you are not insured. There's so many accidents. But there it is. Another one of, I believe, Napoleon's monuments. Not 100% sure on that, though. There is a famous historic picture of the fall of Paris, where they have the German troops in World War II in 1940 marching through the Arc de Triomphe as a bit of a publicity stunt, but there she is. And you can see the roundabout there. Alright, we'll head down over here. Of course, we got one of the most famous Parisian landmarks right in front of us here. It is the Tour Eiffel, or the Eiffel Tower. It sits just on the south shore of the river, and it's got two things bordering it. To the east, which we're about to fly over here, is the Trocadero Park. It's a great place. In the spring and summer, lots of people gather out here. And you can sit out, enjoy a nice civilized lunch, stop, get a baguette and some cheese and some ham and a bottle of wine, and sit out and enjoy the weather. There she is. Yeah, the ground doesn't look good, but there's gardens and everything there in the center, and then you got the big buildings surrounding it. And then you cross the bridge and you come up to the Eiffel Tower. So you can't go up it. There's an observation area up top. There's also a restaurant in that level. I guess the second level up, and it's very expensive. And there's an elevator that runs up one of the legs, and that's how you get up there. And then we have the park here in front of the Eiffel Tower. This is the Champs de Mars, or the Fields of Mars. You get a lot of pictures taken from here, people wanting the Eiffel Tower in the background. So we'll continue over this way. So coming up here is the Hotel des Invalides, which is Napoleon's resting place. He is Napoleon's tomb is located in there, and it is very interesting to see. I think it's under the dome. But again, huge parks and everything laid out around it. As you can see in a beautiful shot, and it crosses over there, the bridge. A lot of bridges over the rivers here. I think one of the more famous designed ones is the Pontonov, the 9th bridge. Very intricate stonework on it. You see the other road going across up to the Place de la Concorde. So I'm going to turn down here alongside the Seine River. So the old Paris in the 7, 8, 900s had a reputation for being pretty defensible and a hard place to attack, and you'll see why when we get up here, because we're going to go by the old city. Or town of Paris. Now this would have, of course, been back before France was unified, and you had all the separate Avignon and Normandy and Brittany were all separate areas, and France, or the land of the Franks, was a smaller area around here, and Paris was the capital. But here it is coming up. So this island here was the original town of Paris. It was very defensible. It only had 1 or 2 bridges to it, and you would be able to basically hold off any attacks. And in fact, they, for the most part, managed to hold off the Vikings for quite a while. So that's the Pont de Neuf coming up right there, that bridge. We just flew over the Musée d'Orsay, a famous museum, art museum. And this is the island specific. And And this would have been the town, and it would all been fields and forests out here once you got on either side of it. And coming up in front of us here is the Notre Dame Cathedral. As you might remember, 2 years ago or so, it had the massive fire in it. But here she is. And where it sits with the big square. Now, an interesting thing, if you're ever down here, under that square there are not the official catacombs, that's further else, but there's burial crypts, and you can get in and go underground and see it, and it's kind of macabre but interesting. They have the bones in there all lined up in racks, and there's huge shelving units of skulls, and then other ones of leg bones, and these bones go back hundreds and hundreds, if not 1,000 years, and you can go in and take a look at them. So we're just going to work our way around here, take a look at the old Paris, or where it would have been. Obviously it's most of the remnants of it are gone, and we have the Renaissance era buildings. But apparently reconstruction of the cathedral is coming along. And someday we'll be able to get back into it. I have been in there. It is very impressive as an architecture. There we go. Very nice. Now we're going to head over here a little bit south, and we're going to get to the this is called the Pantheon. Of course, not the Greek Pantheon, but very famous building sticking up above this Paris skyline here. Very cool. Alright, so we're going to head back towards the west here. And I think we're going to end up the tour. We're going to land down here in front of the Eiffel Tower. On the Field of Mars. And it's just amazing how many parks and famous buildings are here, historic buildings. Quite a cool place to go visit. Of course, there are a few modern buildings sticking up here and there. Well, Paris was lucky. Well, they surrendered during the Second World War, so Paris was not bombed by the Germans. So, the buildings for the most part all remain intact from well before. It does look out of place here, especially in the center of the city. I mean, there's a lot of them on the outskirts when you get outside the river and outside the circular ring road, but it is what it is. There we go. So let's see if we can put her down here. This may go horribly wrong. We'll find out. The winds are light from the west, so we should be okay that way. Speed's coming back. We're in a slow descent. This, I think, is the entrance into the walkway here. Probably the sculptures and all that type of stuff here. Oh. Go away, Navigraph. That's what I don't want right now. A little bit of a distraction there. Alright, let's try to get her out here into the center a little bit. The tail turned around. There we go. And we are down. Power right back. Well, guys, thank you very much for joining us on this flight. I hope you enjoyed. And we will see you again on the next one. Bye for now.